Hello everyone, this is Martin with MyIeltsTutor. I want to thank you for joining me today. Today we're going to talk about how to plan and write the discussion essay. This is one of the 5 types of essays that you could get for the IELTS exam, whether it's general or academic. So let's get started. Now, for the discussion essay, you have the following expectations. First of all, you need to provide clear answers to each of the questions that are given. For instance, what are the causes? Is this a good positive trend or negative trend? So you need to give clear answers for those. And then they should be answered in detail using specific reasons, examples, and details. Okay? You are also expected to write a minimum of 250 words. So really, you are expected to write more than 250 words. So somewhere between 260 to 300, 325. That's a good response for the essay. Now, you do have to have the appropriate essay format, an introduction, 2 or 3 body paragraphs, and then conclusion. Okay? And that's as follows. Now, the task is 40 minutes long, so you should plan your essay no more than 8 minutes, but if you can do this quicker, do it quicker, because then you'll have more time to write. But plan on at least 30 minutes of writing time, and so 2 minutes at the end to edit your work. That is an expectation that the examiners have, that you spend time editing and correcting your work. And it's good that you should, because it could mean the difference between a higher or lower band score. Okay, and then if you do finish, and it is possible to finish early, make sure you use that entire time to go over your work. Don't just finish and submit. Spend time editing. You'll be glad you did. Trust me. Okay, now, planning the essay, now, you have 5 steps for planning, and these are the 5. And each one is important, and you need to really do the planning stages, because the planning helps you focus and stay focused during the essay, as well as give you a plan, a roadmap to write by. Okay? And with the time you have for writing this, anything that can keep you focused and organized is good. Otherwise, you're going to be I think as you write, your writing is going to be pretty much disorganized, and you don't want disorganized. You want everything organized, logical, and making sense. And that will be another big difference between score, a high score and lower score. Okay. Now, regarding the thesis, you need to consider that your thesis is based on one of the questions. For example, is this a positive or negative development? That's really where you're going to draw your thesis from. Generally you're going to get this question. Is this a positive or negative development? So you need to decide whether it's positive or negative, and then explain why. And so generally it's important to know that the basis for your thesis is generally on that last question. You'll generally get 2 questions, maybe 3, very rarely 1, but you'll usually get 2 questions, and the thesis is largely based on that second question. Okay. Now, brainstorming. Now, when it comes to brainstorming, you just need to come up with specific reasons for each question. So, now, and you should have 3 reasons for each question. And why? Why do you need this? Well, it's going to make your essay much stronger, and it's going to support your thesis much better. It will also exceed the 250-word minimum, too. And that's what you want to do. So, really have 3 reasons. Okay? That's important. Now, understand the essay prompt. So let's take this essay prompt. Okay? We have it here. News plays an important part in most people's lives. Okay. Now, the basic topic is basically reporting positive and negative news stories. That's the basic topic. Right. Now, we have 3 viewpoints here. News is a crucial part of daily life. Journalists are focused solely on negative stories. And news media should also report positive stories. Those are the 3 viewpoints that are expressed here. that was the first step, understanding the prompt. Now we need to go through this next 4 steps. So step 2 is paraphrasing the topic. And when you paraphrase the topic, you want to paraphrase it so you include the topic and the viewpoints. So considering our essay prompt, you get a paraphrase that's like this. It's okay if you have more than one sentence. It's okay to have a question there that shows an element of style. But you want to make sure that you present the topic and the viewpoints accurately, and that's what you want to do. Now, keep your thesis to a short statement. Don't write a sentence, although I've written a sentence here. Keep it to a short phrase. So, for instance, news companies need to include positive stories or need to include positive news. Something like that, okay? Now for brainstorming, you need to brainstorm for the points. So these are the points for each one. And you should spend several minutes brainstorming for each. And then you want to decide the order of your paragraphs after you brainstorm. And what I suggest is you follow it: first question first, second question, second body paragraph, third question, third body paragraph, like that, okay? Now, introduction. Remember the introduction, we want to include the topic statement, the thesis, the main points, or an outline statement. And this here is an example of the essay. It includes an outline statement. First 2 sentences are the paraphrase that we came up with. The second sentence, the third sentence, ideally journalism, is the thesis. And final sentence is the outline statements. And the outline statement states exactly what you're going to write and how you want to write the essay. And that's important that you do that. Don't just write, I will discuss my views or the points in the forthcoming essay. That would be wrong. Now, we have our body paragraph. So this one, you're going to have 2 to 3 depending on the number of questions. For the one we have, we're going to have 3 body paragraphs, okay? We're going to have 1 body paragraph for each question. In the order, we want to start with the first question, finish with the last, okay? So the suggested types of body paragraph that we want to use are multiple idea body paragraphs. This is the format we want to use for this type of body paragraph, where we make a general statement of a central idea that's raised by the question, and give a reason, then explain the reason, or you give an example illustrating it, then second reason, explanation, so on and so forth, until we finish. And then we want to end with a concluding sentence. And then, of course, again, this is our order of our body paragraphs. First body paragraph, question 1. Second, question 2. Third body paragraph, question 3. Now, this is our first body paragraph. The first sentence gives the main point, basically the purpose of journalism. And then it gives 2 reasons. It gives 2 reasons here, and explanation, and finishes with a concluding sentence. So by reporting such stories, the public can take safeguards to avoid such problems. So that's body paragraph 1. Body paragraph 2, and the idea here is one big problem is that the news seems to focus solely on negative reports only. Goes on to explain and describe, gives a couple reasons, and then ends with your concluding sentence. Then we have body paragraph 3. Again, this follows the same pattern. We start off with our introductory sentence that states the point. Even so, journalism should also focus on reporting positive stories. And this sentence here is really explaining that third question, is this a positive and negative trend? It goes on to explaining why it should, giving several reasons, and then ends with a concluding sentence. In this way, the role of journalism becomes more important, and its benefit and contribution to society becomes more significant. And so those are the body paragraphs, and that's the format you want to use, the multiple idea body paragraph. Now, for the final paragraph, of course, this is the conclusion. So how to write your conclusion, it's a 4-step process. Step 1, you begin with a connector such as to conclude or in conclusion, in closing, but make sure that the connector is formal in tone. You don't want to say in a nutshell or in the end. Those are informal connectors that you don't want to use for academic writing, which is what the essay is. Next, restate the thesis. Then you want to summarize the points that you mentioned. It could be summarize the reasons for each question, and then give an additional opinion or call for action. That's what you want to do. Okay, now, so here's an example of our conclusion. We can go ahead and read that. When considering the light of a balance in the light of, that's a good linker you can use. That's not a traditional linker, but you can use it. It's an element of style, and once you develop your writing more, so you will start developing your own style of writing, and it may follow the traditional use of connectors and may not. You may get more creative, but still be very on point in terms of usage, in terms of how you present your words and such. Okay, so, but this is the conclusion. It covers all those points that I talked about. In review, now the discussion essay expectations will provide clear answers to all the questions. You want to answer each question in detail using specific reasons, examples, and details. Should be over 250 words. You should have clearly written paragraphs of the appropriate format, which the introduction, 2 or 3 body paragraphs, depending on the number of questions in the essay prompt, and your conclusion. And that's it. I want to thank you for joining me.